All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Matterhorn Business Development live stream here on this Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I'm your host, Neil Winterreg, and I am joined today by my friend Matt Ryan of Worry Free Marketing.
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. How's it going?
Good. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just going to let everybody know if they've watched the channel previously or if they're part of our members chat, they will recognize you as we've had you on a couple of times talking about SEO, marketing, etc. And Worry Free Marketing is a fantastic group that helps you with your SEO. I mean, really anything web-based, web design. But Matt has been on before to talk about SEO, the top 10 things that people need to do for SEO, things of that nature. What I want to do today, Matt, is in 15 or 20 minutes, if we can, sum up some of these changes to the Google My Business aspect of Google, because that's a huge part of people's SEO and online presence. I mean, you and I have talked, probably the easiest thing you can do is to have a Google My Business page. And now we're finding out, oh, it's changing. And I've incorrectly seen some channels or some people talking about how this is the death of Google My Business. And I think that makes people feel like, Google My Business is gone, all the reviews are gone, the SEO benefits are gone, but that's not really the case. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what is changing, why Google My Business, quote unquote, has gone away, what's it called now, etc.
Sure. Well, so first, they're not calling it Google My Business anymore. And Google My Business was, in my opinion, a weird name from the beginning. It was called Google My Business. And it sort of makes you, it kind of sounds like something you'd say to somebody if you said, hey, why don't you go ahead and Google My Business? It sounds like a sentence. So they've updated the name. They've simplified it. It's now called Google Business Profile. And so it's your business profile on Google, which I actually like. Some people are hating on this change. I really like the change. So they've rebranded it. And so your Google My Business page, it's not what it's called anymore. It's now called your business profile on Google, or more in quotation marks, your Google Business Profile. And what they've done is that the dashboard that used to exist, that anyone could have access to manage their business, is gone. It's just not there anymore. And instead, you manage your business directly in search results or directly in Google Maps. The only people who still have access to their, what I'd call like a professional dashboard for managing your business profile, are search engine optimizers like myself and businesses like myself that have access to multiple businesses online, where we've claimed multiple businesses, we're managing multiple businesses. So we have what I would call power user tools to be able to do things. Now, if someone has 4 locations, they're a physical therapist with 4 locations, as they add these 4 locations, they're going to get access to what I would call the pro suite of the Google Business Profile, where it's going to give you those same powerful tools that an SEO gives you. If they don't have that, they're going to manage their listing right on Google search and right in Google Maps. In fact, the only way now to add a Google Business Profile, so let's say you own a physical therapy location, you're going to add a second one. The only way to add that second location now is through Google Maps. That's actually where you start the journey of adding your listing to Google, which is not how it used to be before. So that's where you start it. And once it's on there, you then do the editing on Google search itself. And I have some screenshots I can, actually not even screenshots, I've got some live tabs pulled up where I can kind of paint this picture and show what's going on.
So our existing, let's say I have an existing business, my existing stuff is still going to be there. My pictures, my reviews, my business information, that doesn't change.
Not at all.
But now with you said it's Google Business Profile. Is that the correct term? Okay.
That's right.
So now I have an existing business. As you know, I have another business. My Google Business Profile is still going to be there, but what changes, I guess, now, and you can show us for some mass purposes what the changes look like, but what do I do now? Like, I now don't know how I'm supposed to add new pictures and new things to my profile. So
I mean, I think the best way is for me to show some folks how to do it. The Google Business Profile pro app is going to make it really easy for someone who's managing multiple businesses or multiple locations to add photos, add events, do these kinds of things. If you have just a single business, you're going to do it. It's weird, but you're going to do it right in Google search, and you're going to search for the name of your business. And when you do it and you're logged in as yourself and you go and you search for, what do you want me to, I can use my antique mall that I own up in St. Louis as an example, or something else.
Why?
But I can show you. You want to go, first of all, we're live, right? So
Yes, we are live.
I
That's
better
for
not
sure.
cuss to your audience. My goodness. We do have the comments going here. So if anyone has anything they want to say, ask the question.
Please ask in the live.
Yeah.
We try and answer as many questions as we can. My initial goal was to do this for 15 or 20 minutes, just so people didn't, we didn't run into too much ADD issues. But sometimes when you and I get going, we take 20 minutes to an hour.
I know. Well, hey, we're 6.5 minutes in, and I feel like I can cover this change pretty quickly and pretty effectively.
Sweet.
And especially if you want to do a screen share, I've got my tabs open or enable it. I think I have to hit share, right? So
yeah, in the StreamYard,
I say share screen. I say this, you give me permission, and you tell me when it's sharing, okay?
Yep, we added it to the stream.
All right, so that's what they're seeing now, yeah? Just making sure?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So what you can see when you go to Google and you type in, like, how do I claim my business on Google, you can see now that whether you click computer, Android, or iPhone as the method of adding your business, every single option says add it through Google Maps, claim your business through Google Maps. It literally says, like, that's the only way to do it. You have to enter your address or enter the name of your business. And if it's a new business, you're going to say add a business. If it pulls up an existing business, you're going to say claim this business. This is now the only way to add a company to Google. There's no other way to do it.
Let's say, for instance, like with my other business, I've already claimed my profile. I made my GMB page. Do I have to do this claiming process newly? No.
Okay. So you don't have to do this. And I'll show you what that's going to look like here. So you're used to seeing a dashboard somewhat like this. Google Business Profile Manager. It used to say Google My Business Manager right here. And you're probably used to seeing this. You've seen something like this before, right?
Yep.
Okay. You're not going to see this anymore unless you're managing 2, 3, 4, 5 businesses. They've not released the exact number, but I've got a lot, obviously, that I have access to, that I manage. So I still get all of these tools. I get these insights. Are the insights cool? What I can see, listing on search. I can see that in this, for the antique mall, listing on maps is the most important thing. We have 34,000 times we appear in maps just in the last month. This is really good. It helps me focus. I love this, right? I get some powerful tools. I can see where are people coming from when they search and want to get directions. Where in the metro area do they come from? And that's really
why is it that you get that and, like, I wouldn't get that for my other business? Is it just because you're a marketing company and you have special access, or
so special? No, so these are the kinds of insights you're going to see here. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to show you. This is what you would see if you own one business. You type in the name of your business.
Yep.
And when you typed it in, it's going to say your business on Google, 47,000 views this month. I'm going to click that.
Okay.
And you're going to see that it is giving me insights. It says 4,000 people have interacted, 42,000 have viewed it. It does tell me how many happened on mobile, on desktop, if it was Google search, if it was Google Maps. I mean, here it shows me that Google search is 24,900 on Google search on mobile. Then, so you can start breaking this down, and I can see the top search terms. I would say for someone who's managing their own listing, they've made this quite a bit easier, because I can see that antique stores near me is one of the top results I come up for, which is a good thing. So then I come over here, I can see calls, how many people have called it since June. This is all within Google. I haven't logged into anything. 1,800 people have requested directions since June. I'm just right here in Google. Look, I got there just by clicking on right here. You see that?
Yeah.
I'm not logging into anything. Now, edit profile, promote customers. I've never clicked on this customers thing. Let's see what happens. Customers, reviews, calls, messages. People can turn on messages, Q&A. Someone 7 months ago asked a question. So, you can start doing this. Let's look at this point here for reviews. You see how this is a bit different, but I'm still getting to the same thing that you had in Google My Business Profile, right?
Yeah.
So you can write a review, which would be silly. I own it. but I can answer reviews right here. I can even edit my replies to reviews, which is pretty cool. And so I can come through, let's try to find one I didn't answer a year ago, replied. Let's see what replying looks like. We'll do this in real time. Hi, Sean. Thank you so much. Have you been in our new location? It's even better. We do have a new name, but the same experience you loved. See you soon. Reply. So I just replied to his review. Again, I have not logged in anywhere. It's just all right here. As soon as I hit X, it takes me right back here. Now, here's my 3 new reviews. Thanksgiving is coming up. Do you want to update your holiday hours? Here's your interaction. You can see that they're giving me calls to action to try to make it push button simple.
So it really kind of looks like instead of having a separate.
Yeah, they've integrated it. That's
yeah,
right.
It's basically just because what I did is while we were doing this, I decided to take one of my businesses and do this for the very first time. And when I first typed in, this is a good advice for anybody out there who has multiple Gmail accounts. I have like 8 Gmail accounts for different businesses, different things. And when I first typed in my business name, it didn't say this is your business. So I went to that specific email.
Yeah.
That specific email, clicked on a little button has all the different apps for Google. Yeah. And I clicked on my profile, and now it brought me up to that. And basically, all it is I'm seeing everything on Google rather than on a separate page.
That's right.
That's really what it seems like to me has changed. Now, from an SEO perspective, from a people finding my business perspective, has any of that been altered at this point? Do I now need to redo something for SEO so that my Google profile pops up, or has it been the management?
Right. So I would say no, from the perspective of needing to change something you were already doing. What I noticed that a lot of people are not doing that they should do, and this is, once your profile is established, this is the most important thing to do on an ongoing basis. A, reply to your reviews. B, look at these calls to action and do what they want you to do. People sometimes, make Google out to be an enemy, but it's like, here they are saying, hey, reply to reviews, post about your holiday hours, let us know what's going on. I mean, we are closed on Thanksgiving. I don't, now, oh, look at that. It took me here. Now, it took me here because I'm an SEO, right? But I could jump in here and I can say, yeah, we're closed on this. So I can say we're closed on Thanksgiving, and 11 to 7 is when we're going to be open that day. I can hit, apply. Let's say closed on Christmas, apply. Good, I've just confirmed it. I have a feeling, I don't know what would happen on yours. I have a feeling that might open up here. But here's what I want to show people. This promote button right here. Mm-hmm. When I see this promote button, I think Google wants me to give them money for advertising. What do you think it means?
Oh, absolutely. That's just a new way of me paying them for SEO and ads like I normally would.
Right. So that's not completely the case. Check this out. Of course, the second option is advertise. The first option is to see insights. But look at options 3, 4, and 5, 6, and 7. Add photos, ask for reviews, add update. Some of the things that I see people not doing is adding updates, right? So easy to add an update. You can add an update here, add a photo. These updates get seen by a tremendous amount of people. If you go back and I'll have to find, I don't know exactly where it is in the new system, but there's a spot where I can definitely see it here, but I can see my posts and I can see what kind of traction they've gotten. Let me show you this. So here's a post, September 4th. It's had 1,700 views on Google. Here's another one, 1,100 views on Google. I didn't pay for that. This is just a post I made with a photo. So what I often see is folks who don't add events and they don't add updates often enough. And they really should. So like when you're adding an event like Small Business Saturday is coming up. So you can see here, I just added this Small Business Saturday. I just said, look for booths on sale with all the vintage, collectible, antique, and memorabilia your heart desires. Come treasure hunt with us. I added a learn more button. The learn more button goes to our website.
And that was
I added hours.
those are four key SEO words there
That's
too.
right.
Vintage, collectible, antique, and
You got it.
memorabilia in one sentence there.
That's right. So I've got the SEO words. I've got Small Business Saturday. I've already got St. Louis in the business name. I've got my link appearing on Google now. Plus, I'm doing what Google wants. I'm giving Google information that it can serve up to users without the user having to leave Google. So that means that Google is going to reward me for playing in the sandbox. Now, in my industry here of this one business I have, I mean, I have a few, but on St. Louis Antique Mall, it's pretty rare that other antique malls do this kind of stuff with digital. So it really ends up propelling us disproportionate to our competition. So you can come here and add an event, like we're doing a little workshop for kids, event title, start date, start time, add a photo, add a button, always add the button. It gives you a link to your website. Always add it. If you have an RSVP thing going on, they can add it there. Adding events, adding posts at least once a week. You should add something once a week. You should do an update on your Google My Business profile, and you should add photos regularly. If you do that, you will rise up in local SEO. It applies so much to your local businesses, and you'll rise up a lot. Like you have a water filter business that we talked about, and that's an area where, if you do this with a water filter business and you do those kinds of things, you're going to see that you'll rise up in search over time. And as you rise up, you tend to stay there.
Yeah. Do you know if it's possible? One problem I had with the old G&B profile for my business was if I added a new photo, it would go into the queue of the photos I had added. It was always add the newest ones last, and I always wanted to flip it. Do you know if it's possible with the new business profile to change the order that the photos you have on your page are?
When you do your posts, like when you post a photo, not adding it as like a photo. So there's these different
spots. Not just adding it into the photo queue.
Yeah, but you post it. Then that's more like a blog roll where the most recent photo will be at the top. When you go into wanting to add an image, Google sometimes, if they notice that users tend to like an image more than the other ones or spend more time on it, or they decide it's more relevant, or their AI decides it's more relevant, sometimes no matter what you do or what sequence you put it in, Google will end up showing a different photo than the one you want to show on a couple of those spots. So where you can control timeline is your posts. You can always delete a photo if you don't want it to show, in terms of what you're talking about, like photos of my business, interior, exterior.
Well, I didn't have a problem with the older photos, but it was kind of like those were the first ones I posted when I was,
And they're still showing.
Yeah, they're still showing. I'd rather have the newer stuff be the first photos that they see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you delete it, then they've only got one option, and then they'll just show the newer stuff. Like if you don't really need that there anyway.
Maybe I just delete them all, add all of them backwards.
Yeah, I mean, well, and one of the things someone might say, well, if you delete them and they've got a lot of reviews and Google is determining that it's relevant. So and that's kind of guesswork, right? But you're always sort of playing with that. Like, is the old photo at this point off brand enough that you want to make sure that your current photo is totally on brand and you don't even want the other one to show anymore? And that desire and that need exceeds whether or not Google is determining that that's a relevant photo. Well, in that case, delete it, have the one you want, let Google over time decide that it's relevant. They will. It'll catch up soon. And in the meantime, make regular posts on the Google Business profile. If you're posting, especially for local businesses, if you're posting regularly there, if you're always adding the link, if you're posting events, even just once a week is fine, and you're doing that. Plus you post blog articles and you have your SEO titles in shape and you have good content on your website, we can start getting into some other pretty cool SEO tactics that I do for new businesses and stuff like that. But just that, you're ahead of 80% of the competition. They just don't do it. They'll post on Facebook, but they won't come over to Google and post. And the reason is that Facebook gives you instant feedback because people like and comment and do that. And the Google Business profile, people don't do that. So you post and you're sort of like, oh, I don't know. I mean, if I ask my business partner right now, does it matter that I posted that photo? He'd say, I have no idea. And yet I can say, well, 1,700 people actually. He'd go, really? Like he has no idea. But on Facebook, he can tell you, oh, I know how many people have liked and I know what the insights are, because the feedback loop is more instantaneous. And so I think that drives behaviors that end up hurting SEO. And so you should, definitely be posting on there.
Yeah. Now I have a quick thing, not to go too far off in the weeds, but we've got a comment of somebody. He just says, he says, for me, SEO is trash, paid ads all day combined with email marketing. Now, obviously, email marketing and paid ads are fantastic, but my question is, if my SEO is good, does that help my paid ad performance? or could I literally just focus on paid ads? Because to me, it seems like with all the free SEO stuff that's out there, you might as well do it all. But is he saying, hey, I just do my paid ads, my email, and I don't need to worry about SEO? Is that a way of looking at it, or should he be focusing on the free SEO stuff that you can also do?
Well, while it always depends according to like what is that person's industry, and Jamon, if you actually typed just what your industry is in general, I could get pretty specific. And thank you for your comment. Um, I would say that if he has experienced that SEO is trash, it probably wasn't being done in the right way.
Yeah.
You are correct that ads will typically bring you faster and more instantaneous results. At the same time, if you're doing ads and SEO, your ads over time, your quality score will go up. You'll get more organic traffic. The cost of acquisition will go down, and the cost of getting leads from the ads will go down. And you'll end up just adding another flow of incoming leads from SEO. And I find it goes the other way too. You know, when we're running ads, if you're running ads on other platforms, let's say Facebook, and then you're getting traffic to your website and you're getting leads, Google doesn't look at Facebook ad traffic any differently than it looks at Facebook social media organic traffic. So any traffic from Facebook, whether a paid ad or whether because it's organic, is viewed by Google as a social signal, which they're very open about being a factor in search engine optimization. So, you know, the question is, should you do it all? And my answer is, provided that it's effective and it's working, of course you should do it all. And if you're doing ads and they're working, then the next thing would be to pilot how to make those ads even more successful, then to add other ad platforms, add those in, then to start doing SEO, then to ensure you're doing email marketing, then to, you know, you would do these and you'd sort of figure out your roadmap, but you would get stagnant if you only did ads and that was it. Or then you only did email marketing, you never grew your list, or you only, you know, any of these things would over time start to falter or get expensive, or competition would move in. So, you know, he says right there, Google My Business is mandatory for a service business. Yeah,
Yep.
it is. I mean, they changed the name. So what he means is Google Business Profile is mandatory. It totally is. And they have certain things they do for service businesses. If it's a local SEO, you do both of them combined. It's just you got to find a good SEO person who's not selling snake oil, or who really understands how to make it work and work well. So really, I hope I answered it. Kind of.
No, I think so. I think so. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, you can focus on all your paid stuff, but to me, having your paid stuff and the SEO, which there's a lot of free SEO content that's out there, you might as well
Yeah.
do it because it doesn't take a lot of time to get all that stuff set up. You and I talked a lot about that on the members interview that we did
Yeah. Yeah.
a
That's
couple
right.
of months ago, as far as how that actually works. And my suggestion to you, Jermone, would be put a little bit of time into it, because it will actually help your paid ads and your email marketing even more. So that's good.
I
So I
wouldn't I
guess
wouldn't just do SEO and not paid
no,
ads,
no, exactly,
especially when I'm
exactly.
starting out. The paid ads, you'll get instantaneous. So like if Jermone tried to do SEO for a few months, didn't get results, and then did ads and got results, yeah, that's what I would expect. Party rental business, weddings, tents, bounce houses. Oh yeah, so running the ads and then focusing on SEO in local areas where absolutely I would do both in that industry. But I would pick ads first for bounce houses. Oh my gosh, and I don't know if Drummond does this, but I would run SEO can take forever, but so he just said SEO takes forever.
Yeah, yeah.
SEO, I have clients where, let's take the Antique Mall. It took me 6 weeks. I overtook everybody, like for everything, period. 6 weeks. I did all the work personally. Game over. You go search around in those keywords in that area. We're at the top. That was 6 weeks. Average is probably 3 to 4 months to really gain traction, and it does take a long time. But once you gain that traction, you don't lose it. Like, you don't lose it quickly. You can turn off your ads and the leads are gone. It takes a long time for the SEO work you do, once you establish it well, for it to erode or for someone else to overtake it. Like, it could take a year for them to really take you down, because most people don't know how to do it as fast. So let's take bounce houses. Oh my gosh. I would target moms of toddler children on Facebook. I would
All day,
literally,
all
I would
day.
go after moms. I would target, and I'd say, you know, we make it easy, drop up and pick up in a sneeze, flat rate, in a breeze, flat rate pricing, blah, blah, blah. And I would have a Facebook lead form. They'd click a button. I'd get their information. I'd have someone who called them, and then I probably would have an email marketing database that emailed them 3 times a year in the 3 months leading up to the anniversary of when it was that they reached out to me, because they probably reached out to me a month or two before their kid's birthday. And a year later, I want to remind them who they bought that bounce house from. So I would do stuff like that for party rental, weddings, tents, and stuff like that. Again, search engine optimization as an added strategy to your ads to overtake competition is a fantastic idea. But you would have to say, okay, I may not see an increase for 3 to 4 months, but you should see some organic traffic come in right away.
If we look at the new Google Business Profile, adding photos, I think you said once a week, once a month.
Oh
What did
yeah,
you?
if you
If
look,
you're
most
adding
people don't add
photos
at
once a
all.
week, if
If
you're
you do
adding
once a
photos
week
once a
posts,
week,
way
you're
ahead.
doing a post once a week, things like that, just through Google My Business Profile. That right there, um, I mean, that right there is going to be stuff that you can do because Dramon's saying, you have to have domain authority, you have to have this. I think,
Jermone shouldn't be worried about domain authority or any of that stuff unless he's a search engine optimization expert doing work for other people. That's getting
right,
too far in the weeds. Go do marketing, talk with your customers, focus on that. Let your SEO person handle that and get you the domain authority that you're looking for. Domain authority is just a subset. That's like saying, I don't want to own a car because then you have to worry about carburetors. Like a carburetor, you're talking a brass tacks thing there, right?
yeah,
I understand what Jermone is saying. It's just too in the weeds as a business owner. You worry about domain authority, you could go into apathy real quick. Oh my gosh, I've got a 2 and they've got a 99. That's all guesswork anyway. I
yeah,
had no domain authority and overtook everybody within 6 weeks, including everyone with high domain authority, period.
yep. So just focus on the Google business stuff that you can do. Your reviews have to help. Your
And your
posts,
website, you got to have your website good. Yeah.
yeah, all
Yeah.
that stuff's going to help you
Yeah.
with that. But that's stuff that somebody can do on their own, and that's really something that you can control through your profile page.
Yeah.
And it's not something that you have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on to get.
Yeah, when you're just starting out, you can definitely do it yourself. You can then have whoever's managing your social media could also do it for you. If you're having someone do paid ads for you, you can say, would you also manage my local profile? Would you help me grow reviews? Growing and getting reviews is, of course, also a great way to have your company rise up. And by posting all the time, Google shows you more, encouraging reviews in store. All these things kind of come together. And doing that will, you're not necessarily going to be perfect, but you got to pick those few things you can execute on well.
Yep. So as far as the changes to Google My Business, just for anybody who came in late or whatever,
Yeah.
it's not that Google My Business is dead. It's not that anything has really changed. Really, the biggest change has just been how you administer it,
Yep.
how you quote unquote log into your page, how you
Mm-hmm.
update things. But as far
Mm-hmm.
as everything that you've done previously is still there, all of your reviews are still there, all of
Yeah.
your information is still there, and you can really do the same things that you could before, but it's just a little bit of an easier, smoother system. Um, and that's really what the change has been. So when we hear about the death of Google My Business, it's not really a death. It's really just a rebranding of now you have a Google Business Profile, and now you administer it just through your Google search and through your email rather than through a separate page.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's really, I think you're pretty spot on in your summary. Jermone just brought up what I consider to be a very valid point.
Yeah.
And I want to share my screen to share a resource that I think people don't know exists.
Okay.
So go ahead and give me permission on Jermaine's point. He talks about getting taken advantage of by SEO companies. Oop, that was like the Matrix.
That was there was some mirror effect there.
So I'm on google.com. I want everyone to notice this. I'm on developers.google.com. They have an entire section on do you need an SEO? And when they say an SEO, they mean search engine optimizer. Okay.
So a person who does the SEO for you, basically.
Yeah. And Google themselves will give you a video for tips for hiring an SEO. They define what an SEO is. They talk about what an SEO should be doing for you. They talk about, they sort of demystify a few things here, like advertising with Google won't have any effect on your search results. I can tell you though that advertising with other platforms and sending people to your website does affect your Google search results. As you come down, they give you an SEO starter guide. And then they literally tell you when you're choosing an SEO, if you're thinking about hiring one, the sooner you do it, the better. They're literally telling you to do it. A great time to hire is when you're considering a site redesign or launching a new site. It's totally true. We've been saying this for a decade because we will ensure that the site is designed for search engines from the bottom up. It's exactly what we do. Then it gives you all of these questions to ask to make sure you don't get fleeced by an SEO person. And then it gives you precautions. It's It's amazing how they do this. They actually they tell you what to be wary of. No one can guarantee a number one ranking. And if they're secretive or won't clearly explain what they're doing for SEO, don't hire them. This is some of the best advice I've seen. It's wild because I've been telling people this for a decade, and I read this and I said, I could have wrote this article myself. This is wild. This is what I've been telling people. And I found it recently, and Google's just really taken it seriously. Then they give you a beginner SEO guide that someone can do for themselves, and it covers a lot of what we've already covered today. And then you get into advanced SEO, which is a lot of the stuff we do also, which, that's where you get into domain authority and a bunch of words that people won't understand, and so we won't get into it. But Google, and we can stop sharing my screen now, Google goes ahead and gives you what you need
exactly
to hire someone.
I'm being attacked by my cat.
Oh, look at that. So Google gives you what you need to say, should I hire this person? Do they pass the test? What should I know? They really define well what an SEO is. And so a lot of people aren't aware that article exists, and I wanted to share it. I can tell you I've met plenty of companies that don't pass with flying colors, the standards that Google set right there in their own documentation, but I do know of companies that do. We're one of them, and I know of others. And they do that work, and then they get results, and organic traffic grows, and people's websites do better.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate your time and effort. We will cut
Thanks,
it short.
man.
You and I
Yeah.
could definitely go for
31
another
minutes.
hour.
10 minutes past. We're pretty good.
Yeah, we could definitely go for another hour. So what I
Yeah.
will say to anybody who's watching this after the fact is leave some comments or questions down below. And Matt is always super helpful and generous with his time and has been on the channel a couple of times. And if we get some questions and things like that, I am sure you would have no problem coming back and saying howdy to everybody. You can find out more about Matt and Worry-Free Marketing in the description down below. Worryfreemarketing.com, I imagine, is the easiest way for people to find you.
Yeah. And our company, Robert's our business development manager, and he just does fantastic. And, he would talk with anyone. We do free website evals. We'll do a free SEO audit. Yeah.
Yep. And this is definitely, I'm not biased with Matt. He is a friend, but you've helped out several of our clients in the past. You still help a couple of them with continued SEO and online sales and SEO ads and all sorts of stuff. But I'm just a fan of his work, and he's always very generous to come in and say hello and give us some advice. So thanks again, man. I am going to end the broadcast here. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving weekend here in the US. Eat plenty of food. Don't get trampled on Friday at any of your favorite stores. I will be doing all of my shopping on Amazon. Now,
happy
Jermone,
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, one last question, I guess, just in case we didn't hit it already. Jermone says, what about running ads on GMB? I imagine it would just be the same thing as doing your normal Google ads, correct?
So there's Google Business Profile. You can run search ads. There are several different types of ads you can run now. You have location extensions where you can run ads in the maps themselves. But to run the ads in the maps themselves and appear above others in maps, you have to have some search ads going. They also have maps ads that are little YouTube clips. So like, for example, we have a little thumbnail of our YouTube video appear in map search. And then a person, as they're going through, can hit play and watch a 15-second commercial about our antique mall. Then you have another thing that Ramon might be talking about. It definitely applies to like plumbers and stuff like this. And it's a competitor to Angie's List and Home Advisor and stuff. And I think it's called a Google local service ads, I want to say. The point is, there's YouTube ads, maps ads, local service ads, search ads, display ads. There's so many different kinds of ads. So he says, what about running them? I mean, yeah, our company runs that all the time. Our company was built on running advertising and helping people do that. It's a good idea. It's not going to affect your SEO to run ads on Google, but it will get you leads. And when you run ads on other platforms, it will then affect your SEO.
And then I imagine all that can be done by an individual business owner through their Google My Business or through their Google Business Profile.
Yeah, man, it gets really expensive to waste money trying to figure out how to use the technology of Google's platform to successfully run ads. You've got to understand split testing. You've got to understand the technology of the platform itself. You've got to understand the different types of ad buys. I've seen a lot of people waste a lot of money where they would have saved money just paying a professional to do it. But if you're scrappy and you're just starting out, do it yourself and get some results. And then as soon as you're busy enough that you don't have time for it, that you have enough money coming in, hire a professional and have them take you to the next level every time.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't say
And
that because I
who
do
knows?
it. It's just my observation.
Maybe the next live will be about that specifically, because we could probably talk an hour about that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we will end it here. Jamon, thanks for your
Yeah, thanks for your
questions. I hope we
participation,
could
Jamon.
answer those for you. Matt, you can find out more about him down below, worryfreemarketing.com. And if you have any questions, comments, etc., leave them in the comments and we can do a follow-up video about this. But I hope that this sheds some light on Google My Business. I hated seeing everybody talking about the death of it. I feel like that was just headlines.
Saber rattling.
Yeah, just some headlines and clickbait. It's not really changed. It's changed how you manage it and what you do, but you still have your Google business profile. You're not losing anything. And it's now just a little bit different in terms of how you access it. So if you're joining in late, just go back to the beginning, rewatch, because we actually show you how to do all that stuff. So I'm going to end the broadcast here for real this time. You guys have a great one. Matt, you can stay on for another minute after I hit the end button.
Sure.
And we will see you all later.